Project 95. Hi. 10/17/95. State Palace Theater, Nolens, Louisiana. Made it to Louisiana. It's funny, I remember nothing from Austin to. Oh, wait, I do. Oh, that's right. On my way to Louisiana, I'm driving through the night. It's like a 8-hour drive, 7-8 hours. This guy was like flagging me down, middle of the night, like driving through the bayou. Oh, I got a tape deck. This dude is like riding my ass. There's nobody out on the road. Dude's riding my ass, flashing the lights. And I'm like, what, is this it? Like, this is when I die? I get abducted and just, right, used for parts? And this is going on for miles. And I'm like, what do I even do here? So a rest area comes up, and I'm like, let's see if he follows me. And I pull off, and he pulls off, and I'm like, fuck. And I just park like I didn't like get out and be like, what's your fucking problem? No. I just pulled into a spot, and he pulls up next to me and gets out, and he comes over and he's like, hey. And I'm like, roll the window down. And he's like, oh man, I saw your stickers on your car. And like, he's just wanted to know about the band and the tour and like I had the New York plates. So he's like, what are you doing down here? And he's probably, I don't know, when you're 20, you just have no idea about age. He's probably 35. He's older than me. And we kind of hung out at this rest area for like a half hour. I was telling him about shows and the band. And like he knew the band. I think it's like, oh, I saw them last year. Blah blah blah. But that was, oh man, I can't believe I almost forgot about that. New Orleans was cool because as I mentioned in the initial post, Spencer had a hotel room, a nice hotel, not like a Motel 6 or whatever. His mom had got him, because this was the last day for them, last night of the tour for them. They were going home from there, and he let me stay with him, and that kid Andrew, he stayed with us. So that was cool to have like a spot on Bourbon Street, really nice, classy hotel. They had their own matchbooks, so it's good. So we had that as a place to sort of operate, and just hanging out on Bourbon Street and walking around. We went over to the theaters to check it out. State Palace Theater doesn't quite live up to its name. Quite a far cry from a palace, but it was still cool. All right, hang on. I'm listening right now. Fishman is 100% playing Montana on the drums. He's 100% playing Montana. I refuse. There's a poll in the initial post. Is he playing Montana or not? are they playing Montana or not? They 100% are. I'm going to have to report it to Fishnet because I was so confident that I wrote it in my notes, as you can see, and I wrote it on my tape case. It's at least the drum beat for Montana, which that song is a drum song. Yeah, I'm taking it. I'm taking it as a victory. It's 100% Montana. What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying. Being in Nolan. So it was bittersweet because I knew, my boys were leaving and I was going to be alone again until I was connecting with one of my buddies who went to U of M. So I was going to see him in a couple weeks in Ann Arbor. But this was definitely a turning point in the tour. It kind of felt like this was like the halfway point, whether it was or not. It felt like that. So Medeski opens, and as I mentioned in a couple other videos, like just blew everybody away. They really introduced me to, and I think a lot of people, to what I call groove music. Like, they're all about groove. And Phish wasn't necessarily that in 1995. I definitely wouldn't use that term to describe their music until probably the Cowfunk 97, 98 era, right? Where groove over everything. But Medeski is that. And it was kind of, again, my first sort of dip of the toe into that, and like, ooh, I like that. Their set was, a typical opening set. I think they played like a half hour. I don't know what, maybe 45 minutes. I don't know what I have the fill on the tape, which is, I want to listen to that too. But it was, they didn't have that. They were, I shouldn't speak on that. I'm not sure if Friday Afternoon in the Universe was their first album. I want to say it was. So they were kind of, it's not like they had, hundreds and hundreds of songs to play. So the big buzz on the street or on the lot was that they were going to come out again. They had done it it was more of a surprise in Austin, but now since they opened, you figured they'd return the favor. So you can see here, the first set was kind of controversial. I was talking about this with Davis today as he was re-listening. The feeling from tour was this set was just cookie cutter, basically. I believe it was dubbed the like a showcase set, meaning they played songs. They played like it was a noob set, right? If you were going in, it was like they were playing to a room full of first timers, seeing the band, hearing their music. We called it the showcase set because it also felt as if they were playing for a bunch of industry goons who are like looking to sign them. So, hey, you play a set and we'll see what we think of it. And they the set list kind of looks like that. All it needed, they did play Sparkle. I was gonna say all it needed was Sparkle. So, Sample, Stash, Uncle Pen, DC Bag, Maze, Glide, Sparkle, Free, Strange Design. Like that stretch right there coming out of Maze, Glide, Sparkle, Free, Strange Design. And then add to it Sample and then Stash, which I feel like is one of the more tame set pieces, if that makes, like Stash and Maze are the two set pieces of this set, and those aren't like the big, like, there's no Fluffhead, there's no YEM, there's no like Phish songs. This is like Phish when they're playing nice, right? And they're almost pandering to, again, industry goons or whatever you want to call it. Like, so the set really had that feel. There's no like deep cuts. There's very little silliness other than the band's inherent silliness of like a song like Sparkle or a song like Glide. And it just was kind of stale, I guess. And I mentioned this before too, like the entitlement that you feel being on tour when you're like, what do they even do? Like you know better, right? That's a real thing. And this was one of those. And then they do Amazing Grace again. This theater was. I said it wasn't a palace. I'm saying I think it once was. It was just not kept up as well as some other theaters. So it was awesome. But it was just kind of run down. It looked run down. Like they hadn't really put a lot of money into it or kept it up. That's what I meant. It was still a really cool place to see Phish. And like small enough to do a bunch of no mic stuff. So they do Amazing Grace, and then this dude, I think he was a fan, Nathan, came out and sang Amazing Grace. I don't remember the connection. So the second set comes out. Trey teases Mule Duel, and there's no mention of that on Fishnet. I'm like, was Fishnet just like hearing about this from like a friend of a friend and not firsthand? Scent of a Mule Duel tease. That kind of stuff. Trey sticking on. Ooh, oh, that's coming up. Sorry. Then they go into Mound. Mound is a great mid-tempo, like funky, cool little song. The Caspians back then were pretty airtight, right? No big jam out the back end. It just kind of was like a 4 or 5 minute song. The continuing evolution of Fog That Surrounds. No more Trey. They're back to, I want to say it's back to OG Fog That Surrounds from the California run. There's no Trey singing the alternate lyrics, which, and I mentioned it, I'm like, that just wasn't working. but there's also still no I'm up and I can take what I get, you give, and I'm here and I don't want you to live with me. That's not. So they're kind of regressing. They added some shit and they're like, nope, pull it back. They're still playing it, which is kind of interesting. I mentioned that Gaiute thing in '94. They kept tinkering. They're like, it's just they shelved it for a while. So that's an interesting little tidbit. But this obviously comes down to the Medeski Jam. So they play Montana into the Medeski Jam. So if you see my note, you can see my notes here getting crazy. Wicked jazz improv is what I called it. So Medeski, so I got that. They played all the way through from that point on. Fishman played the trombone, Fishman played the vacuum, but Wicked Jazz Improv, Space-O-Rama. You might have noticed in a bunch of other shows, spacey stuff they used to write, which is when they usually get really dissonant. It's like pre-2001 or like the way back end of like a long jam that they're kind of, grinding out. Craziness, just craziness. Trey went over on the kit. Then this dude Nathan comes back out. He's just scatting. Fishnet says he was a gospel singer, maybe. Mike was on Trey's little percussion kit. So it's one of those like just mayhem. Like everybody's playing different instruments. Honestly, like it has its moments. Let's put it that way. This is another put this on the list of things that are cool. It's cool that it's happening, but it's not necessarily like great. Anytime you get a jam like this with so many different moving parts, it's hard to keep it cohesive. They just don't have enough instruments, right? They didn't bring out Billy's kit, and they just kind of were like, yeah, just winging it, obviously. So it's these kinds of things are hit and miss for me. It's amazing to be like, I was there. I saw Medeski come out and play for half hour with Phish, but can you say anything was it remarkable? Was it amazing? I mean, not particularly. The moment was amazing. Let's just put it that way. That's how I remember it. And then the encore was amazing. Acoustic, no mics, Long Journey Home, and Blue and Lonesome. There's still some of that carryover from the '94 bluegrass. They really sort of leaned into that, and these old little theaters were a great place to do that, like as God intended, right, with no mics and just acoustic instruments. Also, Long Journey Home, I don't think they had played that yet on the tour. I'm trying to think if I had seen it before. Again, I need to get my stats up. What the fuck is wrong with me? But there was there was so much going on with being in New Orleans, number one, which was crazy. The Medeski opening, Medeski coming out and playing with them, Spencer and Chris's last night. I had the longest drive of the tour, I think. I'll get into that on my side quests thing tomorrow, but yeah, it was in this show. Just plop it down in the middle of all that going on, and it was bittersweet. It was like a bittersweet motel. Sorry, that's just terrible. So I'll have some side quests tomorrow, but the next time I'll see you at a show will be in Kansas City, Missouri on the 19th. And I can't wait.